idea of not having everything you want in a home is what is holding you back, then we need to have a conversation because you don't have to have it all the first time. And we talk about this with our vehicles too, right? So anytime we buy a new vehicle or upgrade, um, it's like, if I get the latest, greatest, best thing, then what do I have to look forward to in the future? The same thing here, okay? We're in our mid 30s. We're not young spring chickens, but we're not, decrepit and old quite yet. So we have life to live. We have moves to make. We have 3 years left in the military and decisions to make after that. So we don't have to be in that forever place right now. Yeah? And neither do you. If you just need to make a move, if you need to get home and make it your home, then you can do that. And that doesn't necessarily always have to require huge updates or renovations, right? We can get you into a space that is cute and cozy, and then you find one area that you say, all right, this is my area of the house. This is what I want to customize and make my own, and I'm going to love it to pieces, right? You can do this. You can love a home. Hello, welcome to Closing Chapters, Everyday Real Estate Tales. I'm your host, Brittney Frye. I'm a realtor, I'm a military wife, and I'm a mom. Join me and come transaction by transaction throughout my real estate career starting back in 2016 to hear about the highs, the lows, and the unexpected turns along the way through all of my customers. It's going to be a crazy ride, you guys. I am so excited to share the past, the current, and then what's coming in the future. Hang tight for the ride. Join me about being a realtor, a military spouse, and a mom. Can't wait to see you there. Hey friends, welcome back. I hope that you had a blessed Valentine's Day and that it was filled with love and joy and all of your friends and family near and dear to you. We had a fantastic day ourselves. We are not big on celebrating Valentine's Day, my husband and I. However, we have the biggest blessing that shows us the most love, and that is our daughter that was born on Valentine's Day. So now every year we get to celebrate her. So yesterday was filled with a lot of fun and surprises for our big 4-year-old now. And as you guys know, we are hotel living at the moment while we are at Fort Leonard Wood for 2 months. And the hotel staff was, simply amazing. If you haven't gone to my Instagram page lately, go check it out. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. They left a beautiful little ribbon for her that said birthday girl, set up a whole party for her. I'm talking like 10 adults sat down with Happy Meals and had lunch with my daughter. They made her a cake, they brought her presents. Simply amazing and more than we could ever anticipate. That, my friends, is going to be a conversation for another day because there's such a huge correlation in what happened yesterday and being a realtor, especially for military clients. So, we're going to make that connection and talk about that a little bit more on a different day. Today, we are going to talk about how to love your home. What does that mean, Brittany? Well, have you ever bought the latest and greatest thing that you just thought was going to be amazing? Like you've waited for this, it's been pumped up, and you are so excited to finally get it. And you start using it, or you try on that outfit, or you start that video game, and you're like, really? This is not the latest and greatest. This is not what I was expecting, or this is not fantastic. I didn't want this. I wanted that, and I thought I was getting this, and this is what I've got, right? That's really disappointing. Or what happens when you say, okay, I'm going to buy this version because the newest version is just way too much. I can't afford that right now. I don't think it's that different, and I can get this and still at least be up to par, right? So then in your mindset, you're like, great, I've got this thing that helps me do what I want to do, and I'm going to make the best of it. And you still love it, right? It did everything you wanted to, you didn't break the bank, and you're enjoying it. That's what I'm going to talk to you about. We are currently buying ourselves in North Carolina right now, and this is the mode we are in, okay? The house we are buying is not our forever home. It's not a home that we would say we love exponentially, right? Now, what I will tell you though is we were very tactical about this. There were a few non negotiables that we looked for in a property. And then from there, we are making a plan to love this home, to love the time that we're going to spend in this home, to love the energy and the money and the updates we're going to put into this home, the projects we will do together. So, I want to talk to you through this process because I think so many times we are built to believe that we have to have it all or we have to do it the right way the first time or there is a right way or a wrong way, and each pathway is different. Okay, when we were in Tennessee we bought a new construction home and it was a beautiful home, right? Couldn't ask for anything more. It's brand new. There were things in that house that we did not like. And part of it was the time that we bought, we had to just snatch it up and go. And it was already in construction, like in the middle of being constructed, but there were no floors, countertops, cabinetry put in place yet. We had absolutely no idea what colors were going in it. It was just, we know we like this floor plan, we know we like this house, we know we like the location, let's go. So we did that. It had dark green countertops and a mixture of like a stone and metallic rough backsplash. And it was not something that we would have chosen for ourselves. And if you, once again, keep up with us on social media, you know my love hate relationship with the grout in that house. It was mixed in with like clay from outside before like it was ever put in. So it was always like discolored and rusty in some areas. And it's just been a downhill battle. So there's a few things like that that we were really like, this is not what we would have chosen. But let me tell you, we had a beautiful kitchen. We had a beautiful primary bedroom with a ton of space. And when I mean ton of space, I mean we had a chair, and like a couch in there, and a TV set up at one point in time. We took all that out. We set up the baby's crib in there, and he was in there for a very long time with us. We had two closets. One was like a long, skinny one that was like our extra storage closet, and then we had one that was literally the size of a kid's room, like a 10 by 10, 10 by 12 kids room. And we couldn't have asked for anything more. We are giving that up this time around, and we knew we were. Okay, that's just really hard to replace. And especially with rates being higher and having to be specific on a price point, we're not going to get the sun and the stars and the moon, and that's okay. So my point is, we had the new construction house where it should have been all sunshine and roses, and it wasn't. We had some issues with the house, some different things that happened, and there's some selections with the house that we didn't just absolutely love. That's okay though. We loved our time there, we loved the space, and we made it home. Now, this time we're going the opposite direction. We're buying a little bit of an older house, and it's like a clean slate, right? If we walk in, it's got fresh paint, it's got fresh carpet, and it is good to go. Is it updated? No. But let me tell you what it does have. Our non negotiables, this is where it starts, and you're going to go, okay, this was definitely your husband. Nope, this is a me thing, is that both of our vehicles can fit in the garage. I am a garage parking person. And there's a couple of different reasons for that. That kind of started when my husband and I moved into our first house together. I was working as a restaurant manager, so I came and went at very odd hours. Additionally, when my husband was home, he worked like shift work for the base, where he was operating the wells and creating the water for the base. So sometimes he was gone overnight or at weird hours coming and going, or he was just gone altogether because, he deployed 2 years in a row and then went to Korea for a year. So the first 3.5 years of our marriage, it was hit or miss if he was ever around. And I didn't want anybody knowing my schedule or my routine, right? Watching me walk out into the driveway and get in my car. It just made me feel better that I could walk into the garage, get in my car, and then leave. So that was like a non negotiable then. And that has stuck since. So now, even more so with us having the children, it just feels good to be able to know that we're in a space. We can, take our time, get the kids out, not worry about them running into the driveway, all those type of things. So that was our first non-negotiable, is both vehicles being able to be in the garage. And this house does that. It has two separate bays. Probably going to be a little bit snug, but I've been parking in a single bay garage at the old house the whole time we've been there, because this was the one short-sightedness about this that we didn't realize until afterwards. Our double bay, where it's like a two-car bay, and then we had a single bay, so it was like a three-car garage. The double bay, the wall was short on the inside. I don't know why. Why? Builders, if you're listening to this, if you have a double bay, make it the longest possible bay, because that's where the mama vehicle is going to go. So I had to park in this skinny one car garage side because it was deeper. And even though it was deeper, it also went up to our tankless water heater. So, and there was a concrete pole there. And so we were always like super nervous that we were going to hit the pole, hit the water heater, whatever. We never did that. It all worked out fine. Had plenty of space to park, but when you're in a big vehicle, sometimes it's hard to like really be able to gauge that well. So we had all of our little tricks and tips. So we know we'll fit in this because we've done it before. So we're super excited about that. And then the next thing was having living space for the kids upstairs and downstairs. We figured out really quickly in our old house that my office space was upstairs, so we had to have a playroom upstairs for the kids. And then if we were downstairs, like naturally during the day, then they needed a space for their stuff there. I am not a like pick up as you go kind of mom. I don't have the bandwidth for that. And a lot of times I'm still working while the kids are at home with me, and under tow. So we actually took our dining room space because it wasn't super functional in the old house and put like a plastic fenced area. And that was the kids' play area there downstairs. We really wanted to have a little bit more of an official area that would be a better setup for them this time around. And this house does. When you walk in the front door, to the left, there's like a formal living room or an office space, and then to the right, it's a formal dining room. So we're going to be able to make that formal living room space into like another little play area nook for the kids, which is awesome. And then upstairs, we have this huge bad mama jamma bonus room. I mean, like probably two and a half, three bedrooms combined. It's huge. It's really cool. And then there's this little nook out that's like a smaller 8 by 10 room that is going to be my office, which is awesome. So I will be right there. We're going to be able to put French doors on it. We saw another house with the same floor plan that already had them, so we know that works. And I'm going to be in the office and be able to watch them in the playroom. It's awesome. The really cool thing about both of these spaces is they will also double up as our guest rooms. So upstairs we have plenty of space to either put a day bed or some sort of pull-out bed, whatever we want to do up there. And then downstairs in the formal living room or office area, we are going to have probably a couch with a pull-out bed. And that's really cool for us because a lot of times if we have visitors, it's usually a duo, right? It's usually my dad and kiddos. My youngest sister just went away to college this year, so that might be a little bit different, but usually somebody else is coming with them. Or, my mom and my sister, they both live in Richmond and usually come together as well. So they need separate spaces. And a lot of my family members are not super friendly with stairs. They don't really like going up and down the stairs. So it's going to be really cool for us to have an option downstairs to have a guest space. Now, we only have a half bath downstairs, so that means if they want to take a shower, they're going to have to go upstairs, but so be it. That's one time, to take a shower versus constantly going up and downstairs every single time that they want to go up to the room or change or whatever have you. So we're really tickled about that. And those were our big ticket items. Outside of that, the other big thing was, can it pass the VA loan? So to be able to get a VA loan, there's certain criteria the house has to meet and make sure that it's in good condition and it passes the appraisal and holds its value well. So those were the type of things we were looking at. Is it too far gone or too much work to be done that it's not going to pass a VA loan or there's a major red flag? Or can we get in the house and be able to do updates? And in this case, that's exactly where we're at right now. So that's awesome. And now the fun part begins. So we had our non-negotiables, right? We found those non-negotiables, and then location, right? Location is always a big deal. And we lucked out that this house is near a lot of the amenities that we would like to be near and still not too far from the base. So it worked out very, very well. And when people say location, 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 I mean, it's really true, right? If you nail down a location first, then you can find the house later, to be honest. If there's something very particular you want to be by, a dance studio, a chiropractic office, a certain restaurant, if you want to hit Dunkin' Donuts every morning, then let's make sure that you are in a 2 mile radius of your Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, whatever the case is, whatever is important to you that you are going to use on the daily or that you want to be near or be accessible to, maybe it's a particular doctor's office, whatever it is, then that's where we start, right? And then we say, okay, from this point, where can we go? What are my options, right? And that's exactly what we did. And now that we have a house locked in that we're purchasing, the fun begins. We have started making a list of all the things we might like to do to the property, and then you start to prioritize them. So for us, right? we know going into this house that cosmetically it's clean. It's got fresh carpet and it's painted. We'll probably paint baby girl's room because she wants to have a special room. But outside of that, everything else can wait. Whenever we do a project, we'll do a project, and that's okay. So, but there's some things like some plumbing stuff that we're going to have to address right off the bat. And another thing is it has a tank water heater, like a 50-gallon tank. And that's not a problem. However, we were spoiled by the tankless water heater in Tennessee. And the thought process that goes through my head is if I am downstairs and we are wrapping up for the night, and I start a load of laundry and I start the dishwasher, and then we go upstairs to put the kiddos in a bathtub. If I go upstairs and there's not hot water for my babies to take a bath, I'm not going to be a very happy mama. And I'm not going to dictate doing the dishes or the laundry around bath time because I'm not going to come back downstairs to start all that stuff. If I'm in my mode or if I'm getting it all situated, like our normal evening routine is I finish loading the dishwasher, Clara puts the soap in the dishwasher and starts it, and then we go upstairs. So things like that, we really have to start thinking about our routines and what works well for us and then prioritize that item. So for us, we'll probably are going to look into getting a tankless water heater again put into this property. And there's already a fireplace there that can be hooked up to propane, so we might be able to do the gas or we might do electric. That is to be determined by my lovely husband, who is quite qualified as a plumber to figure that out. And then we have kitchen updates that can be done. We have bathroom updates that can be done. I mentioned we want to put the French doors potentially on the office upstairs. Probably going to be replacing the back door. The deck needs some love. So we have all these things that we want to work on. It needs a fence, and that's okay. So, what's really exciting about that is whenever you get in that mode, you have an option, right? You can let it drag you down, or you can let it build you up. I could sit here and go, oh my gosh, there's so much money that needs to pour into this house. We might have to replace an HVAC unit. We know we want to update the kitchen. We know that we need to fix the deck because there's rotten wood back there, right? We know that a fence is important for us. When are we going to be able to afford putting up a fence? Or we can say, all right, we have the opportunity to come into this house and make it what we want it to be when we can, how we can, right? And that's pretty exciting. You start getting creative and start figuring out what can I do and how can I do it, right? Or you start looking. So, for instance, okay, kitchen. If we're going to redo the kitchen, one of the things is the bottom cabinet is rotted out from a previous leak underneath the sink. Okay. So maybe we're going to replace cabinetry. First thing my husband starts doing is starting to research wholesale companies or stores where you can buy the cabinetry in bulk or plain and then paint it however you want and usually get a really great deal on it. So that's like all this excitement, right? And honestly, we haven't gotten to do any projects in such a long time. My husband did a couple things in the house to like spiff it up, but it was nothing like life changing. He made a blank closet into a drop zone shoe cubby type of thing, which was really awesome. But we're used to really doing a renovation project or something like that, like we did at our older house. So, anyhow, it's really exciting for us. And my point in saying all of this is that this can be you too. We were very specific on how much money we were spending with this house. Once again, it's one of those situations where it doesn't matter what you're approved for, it matters with how much you want to spend. So we're very tactical about this is what we want to afford right now. This is what we want to be able to have in the future. If we were to rent out this house, could we rent it out and cover the mortgage payment, right? All those things matter. So getting into those fine lines. And what are the rental rates? Can I get into a house like this for cheaper than what the mortgage is going to be? The answer is no. And so that's my answer right away is if I can't rent this house for less than I can buy this house, then you best believe I'm going to be buying a house, right? Because I'm going to build equity from day one versus throwing my money away paying for somebody else's mortgage. Okay. And I'm not against renting. There's a time and a place for everything. But my point is if the idea of not having everything you want in a home is what is holding you back, then we need to have a conversation because you don't have to have it all the first time. And we talk about this with our vehicles too, right? So anytime we buy a new vehicle or upgrade, it's like, if I get the latest, greatest, best thing, then what do I have to look forward to in the future? Same thing here, okay? We're in our mid 30s. We're not young spring chickens, but we're not, decrepit and old quite yet. So we have life to live. We have moves to make. We have 3 years left in the military and decisions to make after that. So we don't have to be in that forever place right now. Yeah? And neither do you. If you just need to make a move, if you need to get home and make it your home, then you can do that. And that doesn't necessarily always have to require huge updates or renovations, right? We can get you into a space that is cute and cozy, and then you find one area that you say, all right, this is my area of the house. This is what I want to customize and make my own, and I'm going to love it to pieces, right? You can do this. You can love a home. And let me tell you, the really cool part about this, all right, it's just like anything in life, right? The harder you have to work for it, the more you appreciate it, the more you love it. Same concept here. If you walk into a house and you don't have to lift a finger and then something just doesn't seem right or you don't like it, then it's so much easier to be critical versus saying, oh my gosh, I worked so hard for this home and now I have a home. I have keys that are in my name and I get to go into this house and I get to paint the walls. I get to decide what furniture goes in it. I get to decide how I want to customize it, where I make my breakfast nook, where I make my reading area for the day, or my office, or the play area, whatever the case may be. You get to choose that for yourself. I cannot tell you how many times I've gone into a house and seen a bedroom that was converted into an office slash dog room. Right? Super cool. There's one in particular that I'm thinking about that had like built in desks all around the wall, and then underneath of it, they had kennels built in for the pups. That can be you. Whatever is important to you, you can make a property unique for you. Now, with that said, if you plan on moving or upgrading in a few years, right, we might talk about what makes the most sense. That's going to make sure that you hold your value. But if you plan on staying there for a hot minute, then you do you. If you want to customize it in a very unique way, then do that if it suits your lifestyle. And remember, that's not what you can do if you're renting. Yeah? If you're renting, we might be able to paint walls, but you're painting them back at the original color, right? You might be able to customize an area by like adding furniture or maybe, like little Klingon stickers or something like that, but you are not making huge changes and updates to a house if you're renting it. You're probably not adding a fence to a house if you're renting it, right? I just had that recently with somebody looking for a rental and we had a house that didn't have a fence. Sellers did not want to entertain that. It didn't matter. We were saying like we could raise the rent a little bit, or let the tenants purchase the fence and lower the rent a little bit. None of that mattered. They just didn't want to do that. And that's their option. But if you purchase, the ball is in your court, my friends. So, all of this to say, do not believe that you have to have it all the first time around. There is something beautiful and magical about stepping stones and building up to whatever you want in life. And how many times does our mind change with what we want? It's really valuable to get into a home and live in it and see how you operate, what you like or dislike, and start making notes of that, and then do it again. We do this with every home we're in. Anything that we like or dislike, we've started taking pictures or writing notes just so that we kind of have a track record. Because if you go into a different property that didn't have that issue or, had something better, then sometimes you forget, what that was. So we've kind of kept note of that and have an ongoing list of what we really liked or what we really disliked so that when we're ready for forever or settling down, we can find a house that might have some of those options or the ability for us to create a conducive atmosphere for our family. And that also changes depending on what your family looks like and what phase of life you're in. Let me tell you, the house that we started in with pre-kids, we could put our kids in it, but it certainly wouldn't be as advantageous. But we weren't thinking about kids. We didn't know how all of that worked or operated or the spaces we would want or need. It was really different. So you don't have to like have all the end all be alls, the what if contingency plans for every little thing in life that you don't even know about yet. Let's focus on this phase of life, what the next few years looks like. Like, what does the next 5 years potentially look like in your life? And can this property be conducive for that? Can I build equity here in 2 to 5 years? Can I live my life here and be comfortable? Can I add a child here and be okay? Could I invite a parent to come stay with me and be okay? Right? Whatever your situation is, may I have a roommate here? What does that look like? There's so many houses that I see that have bonus rooms with a bathroom upstairs, and you got two totally different areas. The rest of the house is downstairs. That's so awesome. We had a neighbor across the street that did that, and they had a kiddo, but they still had a roommate that was upstairs. And what a better way to help pay your mortgage than just to have a buddy hanging out with you all day, right? So there are so many options. And I want to help guide you on exactly how you can love a property. We're going to start with your location, and then we're going to figure out a couple non negotiables, not 10. I'm talking, 3, 4 non negotiables, maybe top three. And then we're going to start looking around and decide what feels good, what has potential, what is going to suit you well for the next 2 to 5 years and get you in the door as your first official home and stepping stone. Maybe it's not your first home. This isn't our first home, and most would probably think we're going backwards, but that's okay. There's a plan, and we know exactly where we stand with that. So stop listening to everybody else. I know I always say, cut the noise. Cut the noise. I feel like that's my biggest thing these days is cut the noise. I have stopped comparing myself to other people because what good does it do me? They're not living my life. They may not be in the same phase of life as me, right? They might be doing other things that I'm not aware of. It's really cool to have conversations with others and see where they've been or where they're going or how they're doing things. But I don't have to compare to that. I can take little golden nuggets from it and say, man, that's really good information. How can I apply that to my situation, right? So don't get stuck in comparison analysis, okay? We don't have to do that. And we are going to look at your specific situation. And I've said this before too, sometimes as much as we love our family and friends, having a third party that's not really associated with you and is a trusted advisor, aka me, a realtor, right, to just sit down and talk through it with you, I'm going to be only on your side and looking out for your best interest for what you tell me you want to accomplish, okay? So we're not going to be talking like, oh, well, shouldn't you be able to afford this? Or, oh, well, you can't do that, right? That's not the conversations we're going to have. We're going to talk about our parameters, where you want to be, and how we can make all of that happen and bundle it up with a bow. And I am going to be extremely open and honest with you, but I'm also going to be able to look from the outside in. I don't know your background or your history or your story, right? I'm not going to get into your personal life unless you open me into that. If you invite me in and say, hey, this is my scenario, my mom's going to be coming down and living with me. I've got to make sure that I have a space for her. Oh, by the way, when we close on the house, she's going to be there first before me. Can you make sure that it's set up so she can get into the property? Absolutely. And I've been there, done that. We've done that. And so my point is that if you need a sounding board, somebody to run through a situation, just see if you're ready. See if this is what you want to do or what it even looks like or what could you get for what the money you want to spend. Then let's connect. Let's talk about that because you need a trusted advisor on your side that is going to be open and honest and unbiased and just give you the facts. And that's what I'm here for. So let's have a conversation and get you into a house that you are going to love. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.